In a recent appearance on his YouTube channel, Michael Bisping reacted to Alex Pereira's claim that he had a broken hand going into his fight against Magomed Ankalaev, which he suggested affected his performance and contributed to his loss. Bisping acknowledged the injury but praised Pereira for not making excuses or dwelling on it. Pereira addressed the rumors about his injury on the Ariel Helwani show, confirming that he was indeed injured. However, he emphasized that he didn't want this to be a major discussion, as he refuses to use it as an excuse for the loss. As always, Alex remained respectful and classy. Bisping stated that the only way to know for sure is to see how Pereira performs in a potential rematch. If he comes back stronger and looks like his usual self, then the injury may have played a bigger role than people think. But if Ankalaev dominates again, then it's clear the injury wasn't the deciding factor. The two are set to rematch in August, with Pereira determined to bounce back from an underwhelming performance and reclaim his belt, something he has successfully done before. His camp remains confident in the Brazilian's abilities, especially with his now improved wrestling defense, which was showcased in his fight against Ankalaev. With these advancements, Pereira's fans have high hopes for him to regain the title. Massive respect to Alex Pereira, because if Joe Rogan came out and said it, he could have gone down that path and said, well, yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but seeing as it's out there now, yeah, that's true. Now, the reality is, he probably had a sore hand. As fighters, we don't walk into the octagon at 100%, and that is exactly what Alex Pereira is saying here. Now, the reality is, we'll know the difference in the next fight. Now, a lot of people might think that if Alex Pereira goes out there in the next fight, swings like crazy, gets a big knockout, they might say, well, hold on, there it is. Clearly evident that his hand was broken leading into the first fight, because look what happened in the second one. Now, by the way, he did throw 76 punches. 76 punches with the power that Pereira has. I don't think there was too much of an issue. Maybe it was a little sore leading up to the fight, but as I said, if he beats Magomed Ankalaev and it's a quick knockout, people will jump to the conclusion and say, look, listen, clearly the man did have a broken hand. Merab Dvalishvili holds his own against a much bigger Gable Stevenson, the UFC bantamweight champion, maybe one of the smallest fighters on the roster. But that didn't stop him from going toe-to-toe with an Olympic gold medalist nearly twice his size. During a promo shoot for their shared sponsor, Takedown, Dvalishvili and Stian engaged in a playful wrestling exchange on the beach. After giving Stevenson some advice on blending striking with wrestling, Merab got serious. Despite being massively undized, the machine held his own, and even came close to a takedown when Stevenson lost his balance attempting a trip. However, the heavyweight used his sheer strength to lift Dvalishvili mid-fall, preventing him from landing on top Hinado. Moano believes Carlos Prates is the fighter who can dethrone Bal Muhammad, while showing immense respect for Bal, saying he would beat almost everyone in the division, including Shavkat Rakhmonov, Jack Delda, Madalena, Sean Brady, Kamaru Usman, and Hein Buckley. Moano sees Prates as a unique challenge. Bal's relentless pace and well-rounded skill set make him a nightmare matchup for most welterweights, especially those who rely on wrestling. Moano pointed out that out-grappling Belal is not a viable path to victory, and anyone looking to beat him must have the ability to maintain range, use their size effectively, and possess knockout power. That's where Carlos Prates comes in. The Brazilian striking ability, range control, and physical attributes make him a future threat to Muhammad's reign. Carlos has gained attention for his well-rounded skill set and the fact that he smokes cigarettes. At 6 feet tall, he has a significant reach advantage over many of his peers, which he uses to control the distance and dictate the pace of the fight. What do you think of this future matchup? Can Carlos Prates, fresh off the cigarettes, beat Belal? Leave your comments below.
I think Carlos Prates.
So you think that's the real threat to him long term?
I think because, you know, the problem with Sean Brady, he was talking about Sean Brady being like, they're gonna nullify each other on the wrestling, and Belal is better at striking than Sean Brady. Sean Brady needs to evolve. Yeah. That's why I think to beat Belal Muhammad now, you have to have a good distance, a good size, be tall, keep on the range, you know, because cardio-wise, like you're saying, we saw his training, he doing the conditioning, nobody works harder than him. So I think, like, right now, where he's at, out wrestling him is not gonna be an option, so you need to knock him out. That's right. What I think. Yeah. And maybe it's because I want another Brazilian to have the shot to the belt. Yeah. But I think Carlos Prates is a solid guy to beat Belal.
I'll tell you what. Belal versus Jack Della. Belal versus Buckley.
Belal
versus Shavkat.
Oh, no. Belal.
In a recent press conference with the Spanish channel Mara, former featherweight champion Ilia Topuria dropped a major bombshell. When asked about his next moves, the Georgian fighter revealed some shocking details about his future. He shared that, before vacating his 145 lb belt, the UFC had promised him an immediate title shot in his next division. Topuria made it clear that no matter who he faces next, it will be for the belt. When reporters asked about Islam Makhachev, Ilia confirmed that Islam will either have to face him, or the UFC will force him to relinquish his belt and move up a weight class. With Islam already confirming he won't fight Topuria, and considering Topuria's claim about what the UFC told him, this could pave the way for Islam to face the winner of Bal Muhammad versus JDM. Here's what Topuria said in the combat. "I'm not entirely sure what my next fight will be, but the one thing I do know, and the word I've received from the UFC, is that my next fight will be for the world title. Doesn't matter who I'm fighting next, it is going to be for the belt. So that much is certain. Whether it will be against Islam or Charles, I have no idea. But what I do know is that the belt will be on the line. That was the promise made when I vacated the title. Because let's be real, I wouldn't vacate the belt without being 100% sure I'd fight for the lightweight belt next. They assured me of a title shot. And so far, every promise they've made to me has always been kept. As for Makhachev, yeah. He has to either face me or move up a weight class. He has no choice." In a recent interview with Home of Fight, Bo Nichols shared his thoughts on the future matchup between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. While he acknowledged, "The fight is tough to call," Bo gave Chimaev the edge, particularly due to his wrestling, quote, "tough fight. I think that Driz has the size, he probably has a little better cardio. I think striking is pretty even. I would say, Khamzat obviously has a massive advantage in the grappling. All that considered, I think I would give the edge to Khamzat because of that wrestling advantage," end quote. Bo, who has been vocal about wanting to face Khamzat in the future, is focused on his own upcoming fight on May 3rd. He'll face former 2-division champion in 1FC Rainier Derrida at UFC Des Moines. Despite being a smaller favorite than in his previous bouts, he remains confident heading into the fight. As for the potential clash between Dupi and Khamzat, the title fight has yet to be officially announced. What are your predictions for this fight? Leave your comments.